to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
So, is there any changes to the agenda? I don't know if I should add, oh, we need to add Simon.
Yeah, there's a report within the Board of Water Commissioners and Sewer Commissioners, I guess. I'm assuming that's how it's passed before usually.
Yeah.
As part of the report.
So Simon's report wasn't on the agenda, so with the addition of that, is there a motion to approve the agenda with Simon's report added in?
Motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Whatever you want, Lisa.
I'm just gonna follow the names, I'll be done before you. Review of June 22nd regular meeting minutes. Were there any changes, or is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
Motion to approve.
The second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Thank you. Open public comment?
We have nobody.
Nobody's on?
Nope.
Okay. Yes. You're here for the, when we get to the, like, to make sure. Okay.
Not to tie up this time, how far down was he?
At the back, at the end.
Yes.
And, could we, just, busy, could we move him up on the agenda possibly?
I don't have any problem with that, unless, my only concern is if somebody showed up or wanted to be in regard. That's my only concern, but they,
I'm fine, take your time, you
Okay.
all right, if it starts to get too much, then we'll,
Raise your hand.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll just go to you, because I mean, if somebody's coming, I would hope that they'd be here with us.
Who's the guest?
Sheriff Fox.
Sheriff Fox.
Okay.
You can't
Could
see
he
it.
move up closer so we could hear him better?
Yep.
Well, I have.
That's
Or he can move up, I mean, he can move like right
Well,
there.
he's not talking right now.
No, I mean, when he does.
Yeah, but do you want
Yeah.
can only go so far.
We're not gonna see anybody.
to?
I just want to be able to get everyone.
Maybe they're doing it now. Dr. Sherman.
Technical difficulties, please stand by. How's that? How's that?
Is that better?
You talk to just.
Can you hear me now?
Can you guys hear him?
No, not very well. Can you, Carrie?
I can a little bit.
Okay, well, when he does speak, we'll bring him up closer, okay?
Yes.
All right, is there any good stuff that anybody wants to comment on in the town?
I thought Stan's retirement party went well, nice turnout.
What's the term?
He did a great job, and thank you, Stan.
Thank you. Another cooperative.
And it was nice Greg could be there to meet
Yeah, it was nice.
some of the town folks. And it was a good day.
It was a nice day.
Anything else under good stuff?
Pool's open.
It is.
Pool's open and people are taking advantage of it. Some of the new pieces of equipment are out there now.
Yep, they got all that up there.
Yep.
That's great.
Good.
The community garden is starting to produce, so that's pretty cool.
That is good.
Raymond must be happy.
Raymond is happy.
All right. Highway Department, managers report.
So, being that this is my first meeting, I just wanted to sort of find out what the format you're looking for, what you guys would like to see from me. I didn't put a full-blown report in here. I didn't know what Stan had done in the past necessarily, if it was more verbal or if you wanted a real report. I can give you quick highlights on what has been happening,
Okay.
if that's what you guys would prefer.
Yeah, and I don't know about everybody else's opinion, but, I feel like I'd rather see the report abbreviated and just touch on the high points
Right.
and not have every single item that
Right.
could be on the list competitive
Right.
each meeting.
And then what I've done in the past is that's exactly what I've done and not necessarily go over it.
Right.
There's no reason. If you have
Right.
questions, I'd be happy to answer your
Yeah.
questions, but
It's just kind
There's
of
no
getting the
need to-
high notes of what's important.
Stan always, made the road crew look busier than, you know,
Right.
and we realize they are, we don't need to be
Right.
impressed.
Right, and there's a lot of minor things that you don't need to know about,
Right.
I'm sure,
Right,
unless you
right.
ask. Yeah,
Exactly.
so I think, what they've been doing in the last couple of weeks, I know they did some skin patches up on, Park Street, where we had some of the construction. We will be looking at down the road, probably next year, some paving down that road, because of all the patches and everything.
Did they do North Street where the pickup was?
I
Yeah.
believe they have, I haven't had a chance to go out there yet.
They did.
Yeah.
Thank
They have a little bit more to do, but the asphalt plant changed their mix type for the, I'm guessing it's for the Route 4, construction.
Okay.
So when they go back to the smaller mix, which is the top mat mix, they're gonna get some more and finish up a couple other spots that they've got. There's some more sections down up on Park Street that need to be done and some potholes and things like that. Let's see, what else have they been doing? They did some roadside mowing, I don't know if you noticed, but, around town, they've been doing some roadside mowing, they've been mowing the parks, their normal stuff. Yeah, I think everything looks pretty good. We're gonna work on it, we're gonna work on a work plan, so we've got sort of a schedule of like do, that's something long-term.
Well, one, we're trying to, equipment, a little longer range.
I will be doing a capital plan for you, which is that same thing. The work plan is more of a operational sort of thing. In the month of May, we typically do these things. In the month of August, we do these. And so there's sort of a roadmap for them to follow on the larger items.
Okay.
Some of the other things they did, of course, the pool. They helped set up the pool. They got it all cleaned up and put some more sand out there on the beach. Built some of the facilities out there. So they've been working on that. I don't know what else they've been doing necessarily. That's just large scale stuff. This time of year it's more about keeping up with the mowing
Right,
and
maintenance of it.
maintaining the equipment and things like that, kind of getting ready for the winter time. So, but in the future, I will give you sort of a bulleted synopsis
Right.
of what they've been doing. Yeah. And I don't know if each department.
Will that bulleted synopsis be in the packet then?
It will be, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I've typically done one for all departments. Will that work, or do you want one separately for each department? Which is better for you? Because Simon's kind of does the water and sewer, so I don't know
Right, yeah.
necessarily how much I need to be
Right.
involved.
I'd like to see that separated a little.
Okay, so mine will basically be everything other than utilities.
Right.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody?
Sometimes you'll need to cover for.
Sure.
a little bit.
Sure, but it'll also have other things like, just other stuff that's going on that doesn't necessarily fall under one of these three
Right,
categories.
right.
Perfect.
So, okay, good. So that's, for now, that's really all I have. I know I don't have a lot, but I'll come, moving forward, we'll make sure we
Okay.
have it that way.
Is there any questions?
No,
That's about contracts.
So this, I don't know if you remember, Stan, we had talked about the sidewalk out front of, the park there, and there was some issues with the budget. We actually ended up talking with the contractor, and they come up with this idea that there are some large areas of curbing that in the contract it said remove or reset all of it. And after looking at it, there was a lot of it that didn't even need to be done. It can be left right in place, and then they just pour the sidewalk behind it. So with that change, we were able to get back into where we were at a better budget, closer to what the select board wanted us to be under. So with all the changes, we come in at $79,493, and that's, the state has looked at the changes that we were projecting, that we were proposing. There's also a map back here that sort of shows it, as well as a Richard Reed and Son, letter that outlines, what they were proposing to change to reduce the project. And then there's $1,000 extra here in an email that the state, the only thing that they asked for was, their truncated domes or the little plates that go at the crosswalk, that would go at the end of the sidewalk, as sort of an ADA sort of thing. So that's been added to the entire project, bringing it down to $79,493. So this is the contract. I'd like to ask the select board to approve the contract so we can sign this and get their notice to proceed and get this started within probably the next 2 days to a week or so.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the contract as amended?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other business for highway that anybody has?
With our chipper, I heard, as you mentioned that.
Yep.
Good.
Yep. Yeah, he's looking for something a little smaller than what, not a big tow behind type thing, something a little smaller that we could utilize. Great idea. So, we've got a couple different equipment things that we're sort of working on. That we're going to see how they shake
Yeah, we
out.
know the loader's getting tired.
Yeah, just going to see how things shake out and see where we're at.
That would be quite a purchase, but.
They get used to them. All right, is there a motion to go into the Board of Water Commissioners?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right.
Again, the manager's report, the Simon report was came in a little bit late. I sent that out after the fact to you all.
Yes.
Did everybody get that?
Yes.
Is there any questions
Yes.
on that? Okay.
I don't have any questions. It's still concerning the amount of wipes, so I'm kind of looking forward to that insert in the tax bill.
Right. Yeah, those are an ongoing problem for sure. Those
All the way.
so-called flushables that are not really.
How are, they're still finding them?
It's still an issue.
Yes.
Yeah, still an issue. They had to pull a pump, I believe. I'm not sure where it was at, but I saw in the report they had to pull a pump.
I know there was a neighbor on Columbia Avenue mentioned they were down there several days.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure that's what it
that
was.
was a little pump.
Yeah.
That was
When,
too bad.
when was that notice supposed to go out? When were those?
It won't go until August after, we'll be able to send the tax bill to the.
Right.
So it'll go after that.
After that, so
Right.
probably not.
That's just a byproduct of the marketing. They claim they're flushable and they're
Well,
And then
not degradable.
every town
Yeah.
is having the same issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then I think even notifying people and letting them know they're still circular and flush them.
Yep, I haven't changed a lot, no.
But it's good to just kind of keep putting it out there.
Yes.
All right, contract 6.
Citizen,
Yep, so the first thing you have, so we've got two things to finish up this, hopefully this contract 6 project. First thing you see is a change order number 3. This is actually just a balancing change order. It's just sort of an end of project, how everything shook out at the end change order. As you'll see, they actually outlined that it is a decrease in the contract price. So I couldn't tell you because I was so, I'm early on this whole project. I don't know what it was. I think it was some water main that they ended up not installing and some other lines and things. But
Yeah.
miscellaneous type things, but it ended up being a decrease in the contract of $14,368.65. So I think we would like to probably accept this change order and see that savings. So change order number 3, and then that coincides with the pay application number 4, which would be the final pay application for contract number 6.
And what's that for?
That 169,287.16. That includes
Final, right?
that would retain and everything else.
How are we over or under?
We're under. Yeah.
Amazing.
Price, if you the change order, contract price was $549. The new contract price is going to be $534,917. So we were
Amazing, excellent. Has it been able to get any grass to grow up there? I mean, that's
trying. So they have we did a walk last week and showed them a bunch of spots.
But I mean, it's amazing it's coming up at all.
There was a little confusion talking to John that there was a gentleman up there who mows a bunch of the lawns, and he had told John that he was going to water these areas. And I don't know if he didn't or if he didn't do it enough. I don't know. But so John ended up going out and doing it himself. So hopefully things will start to move a little more. We had the rains too. But the contractor has a 1-year warranty anyway. So come next, probably early spring, we'll do another walk, and we got to get it down early. If we wait too late, it's just not going to do any good once we get the heat of the summer. So, so there will be some areas that probably are not growing that well. There was some that were overgrown in the right of way as well that we're going to go out and mow if they haven't already done it. And a lot of people, to be honest with you, on contracts or on projects like this, when people are involved like that, people are worried to mow because they don't know if they're supposed to or not. So it can get kind of high, and they're like, well, we don't mess something up in our yard. So once we mow it, then they figure out, hey, it's okay to do, and they'll start doing it. So.
All right, so you want a motion to approve change order number 3?
Correct.
Is there a motion to approve change order number 3?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the pay application number 4, final payment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So everybody's hooked up there.
Yep. You're hooked up.
Did you see any change, pressure, or
I
anything?
don't think my pressure was great, but they tell us that there's no change, so since they didn't come and check before they did it, you have to, all I have are when the warnings to come and check, so. But,
Yeah. They water really well. You can't even tell there was construction in your yard. It's great.
Really?
Yeah, oh, it's great, yeah.
And that was difficult for them too, you know, they wound up leaving after starting, and then coming back. And they looked for that leak. Amazing.
they did a nice job, they're very conscientious, like, up a little bit, and dug up things, and, you know, just not just one, but other people.
Yeah. Awesome.
No, I thought they were good, very conscientious.
Good.
Good to hear.
All right, anything else underwater? Okay, is there a motion to go out of water into sewer?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right.
Again, the assignment report has been inserted in this section.
We go to the Willow Street pump.
So, this is the engineer agreement. This is the next step in the state revolving fund loan, process we've done. This will start the engineering design on the Willow Street pump, as some stuff. It's in the bond, create a bond language and things like that. So this is just the agreement for the engineering services for the Willow Street pump station service area. Again, the deliverables here will be the design as well as getting through the state protocols and
That amount is,
That amount is, that's a good question, I don't know what page it's on. 90,400. And this
The
is
original
all,
was 18.5 and the amendment was 71.9.
yeah, yeah. I don't know what the original was, I don't know if the scope was a lot narrower, I'm not really sure. I wish I could speak to it, but I don't. This has been vetted through the state as well.
Big difference.
big difference, yes.
Yes.
And just engineering services, so I assume
Right.
everything will be proportionally.
It's, yeah, it's usually a 10% or 7% or something like that. And this is the planning aspect, I believe, of that loan. So this again will fall back to, if we don't do the construction, this will then revert into a 0% interest loan, so you have to pay back. If not, it rolls into the larger or the loan.
All right. So we need a motion to approve the agreement?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the agreement for the Will Street pump station?
So, I'm sorry, before you get, I don't know how you do it, but it's really one signature. You can either approve it yourselves and then designate me to sign it, or just designate me to approve,
Right.
as the designated signee to sign that.
Yeah, we all don't need to sign off on it.
Right.
So is there a motion to approve the agreement and have the Greg sign off on it as town manager?
So moved.
Second? Is there a second? Is there a problem?
Yep, second.
Okay.
I thought it was very.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry, I just didn't know.
Very, very good.
There was issues.
Yeah, it scared me for a second.
No, I don't have an issue. No, Mr., he was down, gave a nice presentation.
Right.
Yeah, Wayne is really good.
He's very good.
All right, is there anything else under the sewer, Commissioner?
How are we doing with our patch? We're gonna try and drain the lagoon down a little bit, do some patching this summer, I thought.
According to the report, I haven't talked with Chris, but according to the report, they're still trying to get, somebody to give them an idea of the right material to use, and the response has been slow. That's what I don't know what that means. I guess they're trying to shop around for the right material, but they're not getting a whole lot of response.
All right. This seems like the summer for low water would be a good time to.
Right. Right. I'll get a hold of Chris and see if there's been no progress on it.
Chris is very smart.
Mm-hmm.
People skills, no.
That's okay. He's an engineer type, and I'm okay.
Yeah.
I can manage those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He comes across a little hard
Sure,
sometimes, but
sure.
he doesn't mean to.
Okay, is there a motion to go out of the sewage and back to the regular meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So next on the agenda is standing committee report. I'll go, we had the, pool and rec committee meeting last week. Talked about bees at the skating rink. We have to get rid of them, and we've had people over there to try to, get rid of the ones that are in the building and underneath, and they're taking care of that, and I think they're gonna do a follow-up. Talked about possibly trimming around some trees in the area of the rink, and painting it over, to white. And then as far as the pool goes, the pool has been open. Everything seems to be running really well up there. They've had, quite a few people going up. No issues whatsoever. They're working a little harder just because they have to maintain stuff and clean up after everybody. So kudos to them. We've had some decent weather for them too, so that's good. And they also put the new raft in the docks road. So Brian finished the raft on Saturday, and that went in then. So it's really nice.
Excellent. Planning commission, A new zoning administrator has been hired for 1 year. And, a lady out of Wallingford, so we'll see how that goes. Beaver Pond is, we held a few work days. Carrie might better answer this than me, possibly, if you care, Carrie.
Well, Beaver Pond, Tim and I were just talking. We have to talk to Ray. We're thinking about doing the tree trimming more towards September that Ray's got that he'd like because it's hot and it's not a good time to be cutting. It's a better time in September. So we have to talk to Ray and see how he feels about that. More people are picking up around the pond, which I think is great.
Yep.
I've been through Beaver Pond off and on. I haven't seen much of a mess over there. I mean,
No.
there's the usual, and, but nothing out of the ordinary.
Is the brush all still down there at the?
I think so, but it tends to stay a little because we have to wait for the highway and it's not really priority. So I think
Right.
that's why it's still there. And John sometimes waits for us to see how much more we're going to add to it. Because if you remember last year, it's pretty big.
Right. I'm just
So-
thinking we have downtime now from just, other major things that maybe they could swing by and keep that up.
That's one reason.
So-
Chipper too. We don't chip
That's why I asked about.
Oh, you want to for that?
Well, we do, and he wants one too, so maybe we could go through birds, chip that brush instead of, the Beaver Pond committee could chip the brush with his chipper. And save him.
He might be waiting for the chipper too.
Okay. Anything else on Beaver Pond? Okay.
Actually, we should talk at some point, maybe next month, of putting it on the agenda, what we're going to do about the floats on the pond, the floating docks.
Yes, the house that was sold,
Yeah.
they need to be advised, that that's public property.
Correct. And I think we need to have a conversation with the landowners that store things too, so we can have that off the town property for winter. So I think we should add that to next month's agenda and see what we can come up with to deal with the situation in an appropriate manner.
Delicately.
Yes, yes.
Honestly, we could get away with something like an encroachment permit, which would allow us to regulate how and when and where those things went out there. That's maybe one option, but I'll put it on the agenda next time.
That's all I have. Bruce,
I don't have any reports because nobody meets in July.
Bruce, mosquitoes.
Yeah.
If you would.
Mosquito District, there's a meeting Thursday night, so hopefully we'll have an update on that.
Are they still zooming?
Pardon me? Yes. There was an email today, Tom. If you missed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
Yeah.
It's around my house,
Yeah.
mosquitoes.
Last week, was it? Week before? Friday, I think it was two Fridays.
They did
Right before 4th of July.
They did for the whole town, I don't think, though.
If you have it
Yes.
on my place.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was the entire town.
Yes.
I was about the other night, I had a mosquito on me.
Yeah, I think the mosquitoes are awful.
Really?
You're in the house now, so.
Good by my house.
Yeah, I haven't walked anywhere and had them come after me.
Yeah, they're like-
there's-
Yeah,
Yeah,
horse,
they're live.
I hate them.
Nice.
Yeah, they're horrible.
But they did do the pool area as well,
Yeah.
so that when they did the whole town.
They're fairly blighty.
Yeah, there we go.
Any other committee reports, Bruce or Carrie?
Nope.
All right. the bills.
So the warrants are going around for your signature. Inside the packet, I think it's as typical. You guys get copies of the registers as well as, like the warrants too. So these are just for your information. If there's any questions, the actual invoices can be made available to you. I don't know what the protocol has been in the past, but I don't usually give you all the invoices just because it gets messy. But I can, so whatever you want.
So I have them here and I can sign off on them, and then Tom, you can also sign if you want. I'm sure you
Move to approve.
Wait, Tom, what were you gonna say?
Huh?
What was Tom gonna say?
I don't have an issue with Judy continuing to sign for me,
No,
until we get back together again.
Agreed.
yes,
Okay.
So you have one person sign.
Yeah.
As everybody.
yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Just with this COVID.
right.
Yeah, sure. Are there any questions about anything? I will do my best.
Why so much? No.
Payroll is in there as well. And we had
Yes.
the town office is in here too. There were 2 payments for the town office in there. And that second one was fairly large because we had to, before the elevator company would send us the elevator or the lift, we have to pay for half of it.
All right,
Yes.
That's why that's a little hefty.
all right. So would you want to jump to police now, just so to save him?
Yes.
I'm certain no one else is gonna, these other things.
Just make sure there's nobody waiting. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so we're gonna we'll go back to all of these, the facility use agreement, and we'll jump over to the sheriff's department agreement and article,
Sounds good.
okay? And I actually have this put on the agenda just because, I wasn't pleased with the Brandon paper putting in the article about, almost kind of holding us to the fire about joining in with them with their police department, and not kind of giving us a heads up that that was going in, so, and I know others also had some concerns, so that's one reason I had it put on here.
So they thought, yeah, hopefully hear you a little better.
Does anybody else have any comments that they wanted to speak to about it?
Do we have a copy of their proposal from Pittsford?
So, let me look here. The only thing that I have is an email from John Haverstock.
Yes.
And it basically says that, it says, our proposal would likely be comparable to the fees charged by the sheriff's office, and we would need a 4-year commitment from Proctor. Otherwise, the Pittsburgh taxpayers would be exposed to cover the cost as a surplus police officer. So that is the only, so the email came in basically saying, kind of fill it out, see if the Proctor Select Board even is interested in seeing our proposal. But those are some of the conditions that would be in that proposal.
Well, I'm concerned about a 4-year contract. You know, who owns we don't know who owns the cruiser at the end of that period, who pays for the maintenance of the cruiser and the electronic equipment that's in there. And I think there's a lot of questions, and if there isn't going to be a substantial change in the cost, I think at this time I'd be leery of changing. At least we know what we're getting from the Rutland County Sheriff's.
Does anybody else have comments?
I'd like to hear some more from Pittsburgh. Could we get,
We can get an actual proposal from them.
well, I'd like to ask some questions of someone.
Okay, well, I can give John, so John, it says a prompt reply would be greatly appreciated as we need to let the federal government, I guess, know of our plans regarding the pending TOPS grant. So they're ready to kind of move on this pretty quickly. I'll reach out to John if you'd like and have him maybe provide us with a little bit more information, and go from there.
Do you put a lunch for the town managers?
I've met with John, yes, I do.
That's a good thing.
Very nice guy, but I think, it's a lot is kind of riding on this as far as his grants,
Oh, yeah.
is what we're doing.
Yeah,
So,
they're saying if we don't step up, then they're going to be no
Right.
reply.
right. So is that the consensus, that we just want to maybe get a little more detail on this?
Oh, definitely.
Pretty much, I feel like we've been at this for a year. Like, I feel we had committee meetings with them, Carrie and Ben went there, and it never moved anywhere. And all of a sudden, there's an article in the paper saying, we need this grant, and, Proctor kind of join in so that we get this money. And they've had plenty of times to put a proposal together with facts, figures, and I've seen nothing.
Right.
And committing personally to any kind of a police force for 4 years, and it's compatible to what you're paying now. That's not good enough. And to be honest with you, the services they're providing are an enhancement compared to what we have now, I don't believe. So I'm willing to listen more, but I'm pretty much made my mind up.
I have, so we've talked about these things. We just need to pin them down, and I'm very unhappy with the services we're currently getting, and so are a lot of community members. So that's what started this, is the unhappiness with the services that we are getting. And so I would like to look at it a little further before making a decision.
So how long are we going to keep doing this, though? I mean, you guys got
Well, he's going to go ask Judy. Greg just said he'd go try to narrow down some more answers as to what we're saying. After we get that, then fine, we can consider.
So I find it odd because I found somebody posted something on Facebook about this whole thing coming up after the article came out, and people started questioning it, and the majority of people were like, why do we want to do this?
I haven't seen any such posts.
Oh, there's been a lot of them.
Facebook pages I am. But they were basically saying, why are we doing this when we're not going to get any better services?
Yep.
And I don't want to.
I don't know. I disagree with that, but
I've never had anybody come to our meetings and complain about police other than when you come. And I've never had any people from out of town or from around the town come and say they're not doing this and not doing that.
so are you saying this is my problem? Is that what you're trying to say to me right now? Because I don't think this is about my problem.
Your
This is
problem
just looking at
forward
options.
the problem.
We don't even know how many. I understand they only have one level 3 officer up there, and I'm concerned about that.
Well,
So I've got a lot of questions, and maybe Greg got to call a special meeting and
Questions together and send them to Greg.
Perfect.
So
Yep.
then Greg can meet and he can ask these questions, because we come to meetings and everyone has complaints. And then when we come here to meet with somebody, nobody has questions. So if there's concerns, get your questions to Greg, and then he can approach John and whoever, and we can get the answers to those. So how about you get your questions to him within a week? Is that possible?
sure.
okay.
So just email everything to me and I'll meet with John and we'll get some answers.
Is there any other questions?
No.
Regarding this? Okay,
So if you want to,
do you want to?
I have questions.
And speak
Look,
you don't need to stand.
First of all, again, I agree with Judy. Carrie often mentions that many people aren't happy in town with the service they're getting. I get no phone calls or complaints from anybody from the town of Proctor about any issue that wasn't handled or handled properly. So I don't know who they are. If you can provide me names, I'll meet with them. find out what the problem is, where we went wrong, where we went right. I'd like to deal with that rather than have someone sitting back and saying there are many people unhappy with the sheriff's department, and I don't know who they are. I get no phone calls, no messages, nobody complains to my guys. Give me a place to start.
Well, I think you should start with your dispatcher, because a lot of things don't even go further than that.
If it's on, the dispatcher will pass the call and start a call. If it's not shift, we pass the call to VSP. That's how it's been for 20 years. So if the dispatcher isn't taking a call and putting it in, that is a problem. But this is the first I've heard of that.
Is that right?
As far as the dispatcher not
Who
taking
was the last
complaints.
officer that was here?
How recently?
Well, anyway, I had a concern. You didn't hear about it?
You called to make a complaint.
No, I didn't call him a complaint. I told him face to face.
See, that's where we get a breakdown is often, I know when Stan was here, people would call the town office and make a complaint. And sometimes it would get called in quickly, sometimes it was a day or two later. And at that point, we're behind things. We're not getting the
I'm not talking
information.
about Stan.
I'm just using that as a reference.
Yeah, well, I'm just using this as a reference. So
Okay.
somebody that worked directly under you,
Okay,
who came to the meeting, heard some complaints.
okay. And the complaint,
Apparently, they didn't get back to you.
they did not. What were the complaints?
Is it gonna do any good?
I don't know. I'm trying to fix things. If there's numerous people that aren't happy, I'd like to know why we're not making people happy.
I called in a lost truck,
A lost truck?
and I called your dispatcher.
Okay,
She never said a word. Next thing I know, I'm talking to 911. That was not a 911
it
call.
was not.
And she didn't say, wait a minute, you know, there's nobody on. Next thing I know, I'm talking to 911.
Okay. That was
That's
totally
a
wrong.
waste of their time.
Absolutely is.
She wasted their time. And she wasn't nice.
I agree. And it's a female dispatcher that you spoke
Yes,
with?
it was. Okay, dog complaints. We go round and round and round. I don't think anybody will disagree with that. What's going on with the woman on Eden Avenue?
And we haven't got any more complaints on that dog.
What do we do about it?
I believe we spoke with the owner and it's been taken care of. There's been no loose dog complaints since we went there.
They weren't fined.
Do you know the owner now has a second dog
I'm not aware. No, I wasn't aware they had a second dog.
Are they
that is also loose?
The dog was registered,
not in Proctor?
not in Proctor, until the
Okay.
30 days. I don't know.
It was registered in Proctor.
Okay.
Finally? Did he have his shots?
He was registered, he had a shot. He had a rabies certificate. So I guess some of the questions I have on the Pittsburgh thing, and I only know when I read the paper as well. It looks like they want a 4-year contract. Do you know how, is it a 40-hour-a-week contract that they're on?
I don't know any of the details. The only thing I received was that one email.
It's a 40-hour a week.
40 hours? Okay.
Yes.
The yearly cost seems to be the amount that we're
He said it's comparable.
comparable to what we're paying now. The cost of the cruiser, is that attributed to Proctor, or is that Pittsburgh purchasing a car and then leasing it to Proctor?
I think you're asking lots of questions that I'm gonna get from everybody.
Well, I just wanted, so somebody will ask them of Pittsburgh when the time comes, so you can all have answers. There's some things I just thought today. I also noted that the cost grant is 75% paid to the agency, so that leaves 25% left. So I don't know if that's in addition to the 80,000 that was quoted approximately, or is that included in the the 4th year, there's a total buyout from the cost grant contract. So whatever that 80,000 is, plus the 20% would be the year that Proctor would owe. It could be up to 103, of course, based at the 80,000 rate, unless the 25% is included in that. And I don't know if Pittsburgh has spoken with VSP, actually I know they haven't, about dispatch services. DSC has put something out about what they're trying to do basically is get out of dispatching, so they have put a number on what it would cost the town to get dispatch services. They currently do dispatch for Pittsburgh. Whether or not they would take on Pittsburgh dispatching Proctor calls would be up to Captain Burnham, who runs the PSAP stuff. They did have a scale that they put out based on the amount of calls that a town has, and it's all inclusive of fire calls and police calls and stuff like that. So they were looking at a number price. Now, whether or not this ever occurs, or I don't know, but this is the closest they've ever come to putting a number on it. I think Terry even got a number of like $30,000 a year, but they're more busy than Proctor for sure. But that's another question. And also, I have a question actually about the grant itself. The COPS grant is a non-supplanting agreement, which mandates that the funds be used to supplement which increase, let's say, for a state, local, or BIA fund that would be dedicated to our town sworn officer. So if the federal, what this says is they can't hire somebody under the federal grant and put them in a place of work that already has law enforcement. That's supplanting. So they're going to take away federal and local monies and use federal money to put in a position that's already occupied by law enforcement.
Can you send me that?
Yeah, it's on the actual 2020 federal grant funding site. It's under contract for police services. But yeah, I can send you.
If you don't mind, yeah, just send it.
So that's my biggest question is whether or not they can really use a federal cost grant to put an officer in the town of Proctor. Now, if they were it's used to increase their numbers. It's not used to decrease a number, and it's not used to maintain a number. It's to add an officer on. But the law enforcement is here, so they can't supplant an officer into that funding. So I'm not sure. They may have something different formulated, but I couldn't find anything that read differently as far as using the grant funding from the federal government. And the other question was the vehicle, which was asked, level of service from the officer. I mean, I don't know any more than any of you know that read the article in the paper. I was hoping someone might have some more insight as to what they were offering, other than they have a meeting Wednesday and wanted a decision, which is why I came to the meeting, because I wanted to at least bring some stuff forward as to.
No, the email basically was just, hey, fill it out, see if they're even willing to listen to a proposal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to stand here and tell you that the sheriff's department is a perfect agency. It's not. Every agency has their problems. How they're going to get missed, things are going to be handled differently. Somebody on one side or the other is always not going to be happy with the outcome of a call. Either you're going to be happy because something happened that was in your favor, or somebody's not going to be happy because they raised you a ticket or got arrested or something like that. It's the nature of the beast, and communication is the key with this. So if there are issues that, from people in town that may contact you, have them call me. I'll come out and talk to them. I'll call them on the phone, whatever
Well,
it is.
it's not just that communication. When have you sent the schedule to the town manager? Where's the schedule that you're supposed to send every week to the town manager?
We're going to stand as to what the hours we were working. Now, whether or not Greg has gotten those, I'm sure he has a new email.
Well, 2 weeks ago, Stan had not gotten them.
Okay.
2 weeks ago, Stan said that right in a meeting, that he is not getting the schedule again.
The schedule that was received prior to is the schedule that's been going on. If there's a change for a parade or something, that's notated, but other than that, the schedule has been what the schedule is.
Okay, and where's the sheriff's report for today?
What's that?
Where's the sheriff's report that belongs in this week's packet for this meeting?
Dan was getting the reports from STARS online, where he can go in and get his own reports, which is what all the towns do. Greg doesn't have that access yet because he doesn't have the password. He's going to make a call tomorrow and get that so he can get in and get those reports.
Okay.
Those more of a transitional issue.
Yeah, those weren't being sent to the town. Stan was able to get in on the STARS report from the sheriff's department and get them.
Who do I need to call, by the way?
That's going to be Jennifer Kaufman. She's the dispatch supervisor. Okay.
So, and how about the officer that's not picked up the report from Eden Avenue from 6 weeks ago.
I believe that was picked up.
Nope, not picked up.
Okay, well, the report was finished, so he may have spoken with the person verbally and finished out the report. That's what I know.
That he was going to go pick up the report, did not do it.
Okay, I can check
I
that.
mean, this is exactly what we're talking about. These things right here, especially you go to talk to a dog owner. It's not talk to him 6 times and then give him a warning. It's we want some results. I mean, how many times do you go to the same place and not do anything? A year ago, we had a dog bite, and that went on for months, and it should have ended way before it did. And the only reason it ended when it did is because the school called.
On a dog bite that occurred at the school?
No, we had a vicious dog problem, and it went on and on and on until finally the dogs were loose, and the school called, and then we had action.
So
These are the kinds of things that are the problem, that it's not prompt, it's not the same. And I have to question, why do I even bother rewriting an ordinance when it doesn't get followed anyways?
And the ordinance you're talking about rewriting is what one?
The animal one.
The question is, as taxpayers, are we paying $80,000 for coverage to deal with dog issues? I mean, I think that's a bigger question.
I mean, I guess it's definitely clear that we have not handled dog complaints properly. Are there any other complaints that aren't being handled as far as criminal-wise, or vandalisms, or trespassing stuff, or?
I will say that I had an issue here, and I called, and
Oh,
he
jeez.
spoke, and the issue was resolved very quickly. I called the dispatcher, I requested to speak with you, set up a time, next day you came, issue resolved.
When was that?
That was within the last month.
Yeah, no.
With the new sheriff?
And I have to say that I sat on my front porch plenty of times, seen the sheriff go by. There's been complaints of, and not even a complaint, just worried that, a dog is loose or something's happening, and the sheriff's there in like 15 minutes. I mean, they're like there. And I've witnessed this, and I get the concerns with dogs in certain neighborhoods, but we sound foolish to think that we're switching police departments because of a dog issue.
It's not because of a dog issue. That's just one example.
Exactly, but it's the only example that's given all the time. We don't talk.
Okay, how about the Marble Bridge? And how about the trucks that go over that don't get ticketed or turned around?
Well, the thing is, our town used to be a tiny town that was friendly and wanted people here. And the way this select board acts sometimes, we want to push people out of here. You can't park on streets. You can't have dogs loose. We want all these big trucks ticketed. It makes us sound like we can't do anything. And let's just focus on the things that are going to make the community better. And yeah, maybe they give a warning, but you know what? I want a police officer that's going to be nice and say, here's a warning. Don't do this again, instead of going, here's a ticket for $200. It just sets a bad precedent sometimes for small towns. And I don't think we can afford to do that sometimes, especially, when things are bad. I just think we need to kind of narrow in and hone in on what it is that we want from a police force. Is it to keep us safe? To feel that, they're there if we need them? Or is it just to pick at them when they're not, following up on a dog complaint, when the certain person complaining has his own issues with his dog?
Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll just move on. I'm good.
Let's move on, we're not making any progress here.
Well, it needs to be said, I'm sorry, because we run through this time
Well, we're gonna
and
put some
time again.
questions in. We agree
I
on
know.
Here's the whole thing. Not everybody gets a response in a timely manner. That's the problem. That is the problem. And you can sit there and say that everybody does, but it's not true.
I don't think I said everybody does.
And I won't say that they do either, because sometimes they're tied up other areas, there's other things going on, we are covering West Rutland as well. We do the best we can with that, and, you know, sometimes things that are lower priority don't get the immediate response.
Well, if your dispatcher could just say, you know, our guys are West Rutland, he's tied up, he'll try and get over there.
And absolutely, and
We don't hear that.
I've mentioned that time and time again to them, and some, you know, you get a dispatcher that came on 15 calls, and they just push the button and they transfer.
Well, then we need another dispatcher.
Well, they
That's the way
that's-
dispatchers are. In the city, they're the same way.
Well, that's
The role.
That's
You
unfortunate.
sit there all day and take those calls that they have to, you know.
well, they gotta be able to sort out the bad guys from the good guys here. No. That's, well, the frequent flyers, I understand, but.
Thank you.
So get me your question. If you can get all the questions by Friday, that'd be great. I'm gonna try to set up a meeting with John. We'll go to lunch and go through the list of questions so that he can answer the report.
Good.
Okay?
By
By Friday, if you can. Did you guys hear that, Terry and Bruce?
Yep.
Email me questions by Friday.
And if you have any questions that you think I can help with, I mean, I understand Pittsburgh has their own thing going on, and I'm just trying to understand it as much as you guys are at this point. I don't know what their offer is. I haven't seen the article. If something comes out, I'd like to look at it, just to, you know, to see if it's accurate, or to see if it's something that can be fixed.
Now, did he get in touch with you about wanting an answer by Wednesday?
No, this was the only email that I received, what I read to you, and it didn't give a date.
That's kind of the way the article led to.
Yeah, it said something about they have a meeting Wednesday, and want to make a decision, and want to go forward. I don't know how quickly. They said they had in September to either accept it or not take it, but. Look at the article in the paper, how accurate that is, I don't know.
I just think the prompt reply would be greatly appreciated as the federal government know our plans regarding the cost grants. I said, and this was July 2nd, I said, thanks for that, I'll put this on the meeting for discussion, hopefully we get a consensus. Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Let's see.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go back to the facilities use agreement.
So, there's no item in your packet for this. This was simply, kind of a follow-up on our last discussion.
Right.
We talked about the, potentially having either a fee or a deposit or something for the rink. I'm working on the fee schedule now, and just need to have some sort of a resolution to this, whether or not an actual resolution, but something that we can move on. Some number. We originally thought of just $100, which I thought was more of a placeholder. But what I'm bringing to you tonight is just the discussion and possibly move on what that fee or that deposit looks like. We do have an application that's in the packet as well. And I have talked to the applicant. I told them there may be a fee assessed, and they said I would expect nothing of it. So it's not going to be an issue. But right now the discussion is what do you want to fee for that rink, the usage of that rink, and what that looks like.
Well, I guess I question if there is a fee, what would that, like, so if, say we charged $100 every time somebody uses the rink, would that $100 go into the budget line item for the rink? So they can kind of go into the contracts that we have with the people running the rink, so their time is going to be, you know.
It would be part of the general fund,
Okay,
and then we can budget appropriately. It's a revenue just like it's an expense,
okay,
but not specific to the rink. Technically, but that doesn't mean we can't increase the revenues are gonna go up.
right,
And then that expense item can go up. If there's some additional expenses, we'll just increase the line item by that. One will offset the other. But the revenues will not go into any particular fund, it'll just be revenues for the rink, operations of the rink. But the intent is definitely to cover some expense.
Right.
Right?
Yes, cover their cleaning expense.
They're going in, going as a, I don't know what line item it is, something probably like permitted, permits or whatever line item
Right.
they need.
Okay.
Going in.
And then, so then the next time if they get $5,000 a year to take care of the rink, it could be bumped up more because all the cleaning becomes part of
Because
it.
the revenue is there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think $100 for use is fair.
The second part of this is we need to discuss is, and this is for another conversation down the road, but, are we going to pay the managers additionally to come in and do this? There was some discussion at one point, I think, before that the fee that we were collecting was gonna go directly to the managers of the rink. And that's not how we can't do that.
Okay.
It has to come in as a revenue and as an expense. So I think we also need to establish, secondly, what we're going to pay the managers for these additional services they're providing during the rink rental times.
Well, I think right now, because the budget, we already have a budget in place.
Right.
Where do we get those fundings from? Going forward, like I said, if their contract is for, say, making ice and running the rink and doing events, and then the cleaning has become another one, then we look at increasing that payment.
But you're already getting the revenue though. If
Right.
you establish the fee, regardless of what the budget says,
Right,
the revenues are still there.
Right.
To offset the expense.
right. So then we would just pay them out of the general fund.
Right. Right. It's just a matter of what is that number? Is it an hourly rate? Is it an overtime? Because right now they're contracted
Right,
for a set amount.
yeah.
So do you want to give them so much per event, so much per hour? I don't know. That's the part we need to look at.
I think they should, I don't think we should worry about it for this upcoming budget, the one we're in, and they'll live with it.
No, but I think we should pay them for it.
So we have an event that's going to become, not an event, but an application for multiple events.
Right,
So we're going to collect, and that's another piece of this, we need to figure out if this is per day, if this is per event, is this one permit fee?
right.
There's kind of some moving parts of this, I guess.
Well, I think every time there's an event, they have to clean now,
Yeah.
beyond what the normal pickup, garbage
Right.
pickup and stuff, so.
So the second part of this is not only establishing the fee, but establishing is it per event? So the application that's in there, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 7 events, or 7 dates on there. I don't know that we necessarily are calling each one of those a separated, permitted.
I think it's a separate event. You have to clean after
Yes.
every single one.
They've got to do it twice before.
Yes.
Before the event and after. So,
That's fine. So that's the way we'll move forward. So if that's what everybody agrees with, then what I'm hearing is the permit fee would be $100 per event.
yes,
And each one of these is considered a separate event. Correct?
Yes.
They, the days?
No, they're
Every time.
every Sunday.
Oh, no, that's,
Right. They require cleaning and all that between events, right? So,
Yes.
$100 per event, each one of these is considered an individual event. And then how are we going to pay the cleaning staff?
We have to pay for that, and we have to pay for extra cleaning, the supplies themselves.
Right,
That's more supplies than they would generally use.
right. So you got a little bit of, material. How long does it take? That place, a couple hours maybe? So you get a couple hours of labor plus some cleaning supplies.
Yeah, and because like a small group, it could take an hour to clean. If you had a big group, it might take more, but.
But the facility will have a few expenses as well.
Right.
There's electricity, there's probably some water, things like that too. So,
so, the pictures, yeah.
so the idea is to figure out how are we going to divvy up that $100, if you will, for the managers of the.
Right.
Um,
we
Well,
can-
part of me feels like we need their input, because we could collect $100, and they're gonna say, it's not really worth my effort to clean if I'm getting $50,
right.
if I'm getting $50.
Well, we can definitely approve the fee amount and the fact that each one is considered a separate day, and that can come
Right.
back with the
Right.
managers and have their input.
yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I
they're
will-
going to be doing this on a weekend. They're gonna
Yeah.
have to clean on a Saturday and then clean up Sunday after. So I think they should get most of that $100.
I think they should too. I think that that's well deserved. It's a lot of their personal time. It's a
Yes.
lot of effort, and it's more than I think they initially signed up for, especially if it's going to be every single weekend. I think the money should be theirs.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it consumes their weekend.
Again, there's a little overhead, but I
Right,
just throw my 2 cents. There's a little electricity and a little water possibly, but
Right.
nothing big.
Right, but we never charged anything before. We've never charged for that facility to use it. The only reason I think that we're charging now is because of the extra cleaning, which is
Yeah.
somebody else is their responsibility now that they didn't have before.
You was where off-season was you contracted with them for $1. They engineered all the events, and then whatever they sold, that was their
part of
profit.
it, with their profit.
I didn't hear any of that.
I didn't either.
A lot of money there, I mean, they're doing a lot of events.
All we got is a mumble.
So Lisa said that the original contract for summertime for the managers was to pay them $1, and then they would make money off of the sale of, well, just our proceeds, basically.
Right.
What else? And that was
But they're
it.
not
yeah. And
gonna
so
be
what
selling
we're
food.
doing is just amend that agreement for a special
Right.
event.
We would have to definitely amend that agreement because it's really not fair to to expect that.
Right. And so, do we want to have the discussion to amend that to include the entire $100? Is that the way you want to go?
I think we ought to consult with Megan and what have you.
I think we should too, because if Megan doesn't want to do that, then we're going to have to find somebody to do
To
that.
do it, yeah.
She's fine with it, I talked to her and she's fine with
She didn't
it.
even want the money.
Yeah, she's good about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's back up and establish the fee.
So is there a motion to approve the fee of $100 per event?
So moved.
There's a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And then we need to define what an event is,
Right,
which is, I guess,
any like one time,
non-consecutive days. maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I need that, I don't need a motion on that, but any consensus of that.
right.
Everybody agree?
And I just want to make a point too that everybody has to fill out this facility's use now. So we can't just have some pop-up birthday party. I think for several different reasons, but
Whether the residents or not residents.
Yeah, we're also requiring insurance, so they're gonna have to require, they're gonna have to show homeowners insurance.
right.
Somebody's a stickler on that.
And I also think, we need to have protocols, just like the pool at the rink as far as COVID.
Yes.
They have to make note, they have to take temperatures or make note of whoever's entering into that, building for that event.
Yes. Are they sharing the thermometer with the pool?
I don't believe,
No, we are going to, we purchased one, and we're trying to purchase 2 more. One is
Okay.
for the town office, and the other can be for whatever.
Okay. I just want to make sure that if we are sharing that there is plan for a backup because things happen.
No, there should be no sharing.
so maybe if we have the permit application as is, and we have an addendum to it because of COVID, a
Right.
COVID addendum,
They're very-
that basically says,
Yep.
this is the protocol you follow when you're using our facility, and you must abide by this.
I think I agree.
Perfect.
So are you providing the insurance for them?
No, we're.
The town will.
Well,
So that's why I'm confused.
I
It
don't
sounds
think-
like someone's saying yes and some are saying
I
no.
don't think we
That's a
should.
good question.
How do we know?
Oh, you mean as far as us versus like the church or something?
Yes.
Yeah, oh, okay. I, of the church, I'm talking when we have our
Because they're
own.
gonna have to certify that they've taken temperatures and
Right,
they'll sign the thing.
right. But I meant-
Right, that should be part of the addendum to our facilities use agreement, is that what protocols people have to take.
Right, right.
Yes,
But they will, I think to your point, to Lisa's point, they will have to provide all their own testing.
Right.
yes.
Yes, definitely. Okay. All right.
And then the last one, piece of that is how much we're going to, or how we're gonna revise, so I'll revise the, that contract and bring it back.
That'd be great.
All right, so the next, the COVID-19 and the protocol at the pool, so kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, we need to,
You're
we still have,
practicing prepping for.
Oh, but the churches, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. So the facility use agreement in front of you for the Furnace Brook Church?
They do have insurance.
yes, it's in the file.
Yes.
So they have several dates here, and I think we approve it with
The fee.
the fee and the understanding that they have to agree to the COVID protocol.
Correct. I'll make that motion as long as those two terms are with it.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Greg, the recreation committee doesn't know this takes place, okay? So you need to email Megan and tell her, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, all of them actually, like Megan and
The ring.
Craig and Veronica.
I will go to the next meeting as well. I didn't realize I
Oh,
was
okay,
supposed to go,
oh, okay,
and so I will be there next time, but I will. I'll email this out to her.
yeah, just so she has the dates and is aware of it.
Those are
Right,
the
and-
schedules.
Then we also have to let Joel know that this has been approved.
Yeah,
Joel, who's Joel?
Joel Tate,
Oh,
Curtis
yes,
Brook.
yes. Yep.
Okay.
Joel, okay.
okay, now, I'll go to further. So the Olympus pool protocol, so basically
You
the
missed something.
same protocol at the pool as the rink. Anybody and everybody must be tested for the temperature and answer questions before they're allowed into either site. I'm just making note of that and bringing it up so everyone knows and can share that with everybody.
And there are, boards out there that say the
Yep.
same, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they have lifeguards there asking, you know, when you go up there, they're there to say, I need to take a temperature, I need to answer these questions. So you don't have to wear a mask in, but they do have to have your temperature taken and answer those questions, and they have the right to refuse you entering the pool.
And that's, Parker residents only, I believe. is-
Yeah.
Yes, Parker residents.
Family members.
Family members.
And town managers, kids and wife.
That's family.
You skipped the Chamber
Yeah.
of Commerce.
Very-
The what?
Chamber of Commerce,
Oh, gee.
still want to be a
Yes.
member?
Well, they're-
Yes.
So it's $360 a year. I just wanted to make sure we still wanted to be a member.
I don't know. I don't see any benefit in it. I really don't.
Well, you'd rather not, but.
No, I mean, that's just my opinion. I feel the same way with the city.
I don't think I don't see any results from them. I was really disappointed by their presentation a few months ago. I don't think that they represent Proctor at all. So I'm not really sure what we're paying for here.
Well, you know, if you want to vote on it, that's fine with me.
Bruce, do you have an opinion?
Yeah, you know, Kerry does have a point. They don't, but I don't know whether they really help us out that much. I don't know.
And I hate it, because I know, I started the chamber, and the chamber's good for the area. I just don't feel, I don't know, I just don't see what benefit
Yeah.
is to the town.
That's where I'm at. I don't really know what the benefit is. I like the chamber. I'm not saying anything. And the benefits that they're describing in here, I don't think we've ever used any of these.
Although if you ever have a mixer, they'll probably take Proctor off their map, so I don't know. Not a bad thing. And there's supposed to be one, there's gonna be a big mixer with, Omi, I think, down here.
Linda was trying to set it up.
Yeah. Well, I don't wanna rain on their parade, but, what's the fee for us?
$360 a year.
The problem is they come and give the presentation, it's the same thing, and they never hear what you say. They're just like, you're part of Rutland County. Well,
Right.
there's a lot of communities that are part of Rutland County.
I'm trying to think of who isn't part of this.
Oh, there are some that.
I think there's some that refuse.
Okay.
I don't know.
The education part, Ross, it annoyed me when they came with their presentation. And then they were just like, if you want something in there, you do the work. And the first time they came, I did the work and sent it to them, and they still didn't send it in. So,
I don't know, do you wanna do it one more year, is everybody's opinion now we just follow?
We can turn it down this year and see what happens, you know, see if we get their attention.
I agree. I think we turn it down this year and see what happens.
Yeah.
Your motion,
I'll make a motion to turn it down this year.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Making friends everywhere.
Everybody tonight, yeah.
Start wearing a mask that covers my whole face.
Right, bulletproof.
All right,
I'll be back to
yeah, I know.
Right.
The town office renovation.
So, there are 2 items on here, I believe. Yeah, actually, there's 3 items on here. So the first one, back in May during the pre-construction meeting for the town office, there was a item on here that Stan was going to be designated by the select board to, accept change orders that were under $2,000.
Right.
That never happened. So at least I couldn't find a record, that it happened. So that would be the first thing I ask, is that you make the motion to, essentially appoint me or allow me to do to approve change orders that are $2,000 or less.
Okay. Is there a motion to that effect?
Yes, so moved.
Yes.
There's a second. Oh,
Second.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Second thing is change order number 1. So Tom has been involved with this a little bit. As they're uncovering things, they're finding that there are some issues that were not known, some utility issues, some structural issues, things like that were not known until they got into it. Those are all attached, and they're all within your packet here. But what the change order outlines is the addition of 4 items and then the deduction of 1 large item. So when they excavated for the ledge, they found a lot less, 17 cubic yards less than what they thought they were going to find, which ends up crediting us back $9,350. The total of the change orders is $2,632.42, about $5,500. So it nets out to an actual decrease in contract price of $4,608. So I would recommend that we approve this. There are some additions, like I said, but the deduction is substantially less, and I think it will allow us, I think we're gonna find some more things, some more hidden skeletons. There's already one more, that's out there for like $700 that we're gonna have to do because without it, we can't get the fire rating for the building.
Right.
But it's kind of nice that they didn't have as much rock, so there's a little bit of a cushion there.
Yes.
So, again, I recommend, the select board approves this change order number 1, which is actually nets out to a decrease in contract price of $4,608.
Is there a motion to approve this change order?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Since I'm involved in this, I won't.
Okay.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And then the next thing is the application for payment, pay request number 2. The first pay request was essentially just some administrative costs, I believe. So number 2 is some of the work, as well as paying for half of the lift. That's why this is kind of a big number. The amount of work being done was not a whole lot. I mean, there was still work done, but it's not a percentage-wise, it's not a lot. But $10,000 of this, almost $11,000 of this is actually paying half of the lift. So, I recommend that the select board approve, pay request number 2.
Is there a motion to approve Gene Cole's pay request number 2?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain. And things are moving along quite well. The walls were poured today for the new addition, the entrance, the lift, the stairs. So that's a big thing forward. Probably some people have noticed our streetlights downtown were out of the town office. There's been some misunderstanding, miscommunications on that, but it hopefully gets straightened out today there. And they will be resetting the gizmo that,
So they weren't going on?
pardon me,
They weren't going on, is that it?
they were on all the time.
Oh, all the time?
Yeah, they're been totally off for the
For days.
Nice slow.
Kind of dark there on there.
All right, fireworks reception. I had this put on the agenda just because there are tons of fireworks comments and complaints and everything else going on around the 4th of July, and actually the week before.
That's what I said was gonna happen. I said it was gonna happen.
At this point, it's probably, I mean, we have time to talk about it before next 4th of July, but I just think it's something we need to think about in terms of, you know, we could say get a permit and those few people will get a permit and we'll know when they're letting them off and where, what time. But the majority of people won't get a permit. And especially this year, I think because there weren't a lot of real fireworks places, people were just buying them up and setting them off. And I'm fine with it. I just don't feel they should be going off at 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, you know, and
Right.
you know, my sister's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so,
And it happens every year. I'm okay with it too, and I think it should be. We're celebrating our country.
right.
I'm all for that, but when it goes to 11, 12, 2 days later, we're still doing it, that's the problem.
The animals, you know, it scares them a lot and stuff. What I don't get is when they're going off and people let their animals out. It's like, well, let the dog out. What's going on? I don't know. But, so just in the back of your mind, maybe something to think about if there's any new approach, or maybe, you know, it might be a time where we do have additional sheriff coverage that night. So they're patrolling the town, you know, not necessarily ticketing people, but just the presence is around and going up to people and saying, hey, listen, do you have a permit? And if they don't, make note of it, you know? Yeah.
Well, we could also ask people to get permits and give the list of permits and addresses to the sheriff.
Huh?
We could also have people get the permits, and then, you know, there's going to have to be some fee because there's some clerical to it. and then give that list with addresses to the sheriff, so the sheriff knows who has a permit and who does not have a permit.
Right.
Yes, we should get Josh and the fire chief involved because he's going to be giving the permits out. And maybe he should give a copy of the list to the town clerk, so at least it's in the office.
I mean, I asked Josh about that and never got a response to my email
Yeah.
from him.
It was like a war zone around my house. Every house around me was just like, it was like nuts.
It wasn't too bad here. It was pretty decent, I think. There was only 2 places that had them, and everybody was done by 9:30.
Yeah.
It was,
I had someone down the street last night who wasn't I was like.
Well, that was a dud.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. All right.
So it sounds like maybe at a later date, you'd like me to set up a meeting and maybe we do a workshop or something on this with the fire chief. I don't know that this select board does a lot of workshops or anything like that. Okay. Just open meeting. We
Yeah.
can do it then, and maybe invite the fire chief and get some input there.
Yeah.
At a
Here's that
future meeting.
Sure.
fireman. No, fix it up a little. All right. Budget report.
Well, we should be in the black.
Well, again, because I'm new, this was a format that I typically use. It's the budget status report for, I think the day I pulled this is the 10th. That shows you where we're at. If you want something different, I'm more than happy to write something different to you. Yeah. Are there any questions? If there's any comments, just, again, this is kind of our learning curve, or my learning curve. Just let me know what format you like, and if you don't like this, that's fine. I'll do something different. I know Stan had some other reports that were sort of color-coded, yellow and blues and greens and stuff, and to me, this is just simpler. This is, what the budget was and what we spent and what's left.
Definitely let's see negatives and red though. All right?
I don't know that Nemrick does that.
Or even just highlighted, or not highlighted, just like
Pink.
bring it up, yeah, like, make notations of
A friendly pink color or something, so that it's not so.
Something.
No, okay, so highlight the negatives.
Yeah, just so we can get a handle on it or hopefully.
All right.
Anything else from the online users? You okay with this format? What'd you say?
I guess it's,
You're okay with it?
maybe if I could see what you're talking about, the minuses, the pluses. That would be good.
Well, yeah, it'll basically say, the percentages. So I'm using percentages, and I think what we'd rather have is the actual number.
Yeah.
Leads to the budget. Is it up? Is it over? Is it under?
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm saying. Instead of saying we're 130% of budget, which means we're 30% over, he wants to see the numbers.
Right.
I would prefer, but I.
Right, oh, no, I, because it's a good, quick bonus that,
I can do that.
Get our attention.
I can do that.
All right. Is there anything else?
I had something, but I lost it. I was going to ask.
You're gonna ask what?
Where are we with taxes and setting that?
So the lister, the grievance, they're set up for, I believe,
I didn't hear what she
the taxes. She wants to know where we're at with taxes, setting a tax rate.
I think in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, the Yeah, the grievances are, I think, happening next week, I believe.
Okay.
We've got a few. She does have Green Mountain Power, unfortunately. So the grievances will be set, and then I don't know where the school's at with it. I think that's kind of.
That number's already, so we already have that.
session? Okay, so we'll have it to you at the next meeting. Did you hear me?
I did.
Okay.
Is there any other discussion, old or new business?
Yes, I would like to move our meetings in the future to the skate. And do without masks, we can be outdoors, if we have taxpayers that wanna come, we could accommodate.
You have to wear masks.
Outdoors, we do.
Well, I mean, it depends on the weather, but if you're inside,
I wasn't aware of that.
we just talked about it tonight.
And
Anything at the rink is just like at the pool or.
I don't understand why we would have to wear masks at the rink when the rink can have functions without masks.
That's true.
No, when we talked about when they have events that they're supposed to wear masks if they're inside,
All of this, I think,
and a dance party with.
yeah.
I just wear masks.
Well, I read the governor's state today, and it says that you have to wear a mask if you cannot maintain 6-foot social distance.
You have to wear a mask if what?
You cannot maintain 6 foot of social distancing at all times.
But I think you have managers at the rink that are requiring people during special events to wear the mask and go inside to the restroom or purchase something. Why would the select board get to?
I can't hear anything.
No, I can't either. Yeah, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna need microphones or something to,
Or you can just come to the meetings in person.
So the rink has events currently, and if you're going inside the building at the rink, you're required to wear a mask. Those are the rules that are posted.
So I think before we move there, we need to ask them as well, if that's their, because they're the ones basically running the rink. And is the only reason you want to move to the rink because of the mask?
Yes,
And again, those rules are ever changing, so
by the government.
there could be an opportunity to change that requirement if the select board and the managers are comfortable with that.
Did you have a conference today? Did you say anything different?
I didn't see today.
Because the emergency order is supposed to be lifted Wednesday, and I'm sure it's not going to be.
Well, we're maintaining 6 foot here and why do we have to wear masks?
That's the rule of the board of trustees of whether it's.
And let's go with town, so.
Other,
I think the governor's precautions are more than enough for me.
So, again, 2 steps, if you approve that, then we'll have to look at the regulations, which most likely will change a little bit out there. We'll go with whatever the governor's requirements are for that facility, which I haven't read them, but I'm assuming, well, the last I read, if you can maintain 6 foot, then you're not required to wear a mask.
That's the way I understand it.
any internet connection there, right?
They have internet, yes, and they have air conditioning.
You're proposing outside meetings right now. That's whether,
Well, if,
I just know.
So we're gonna Zoom outside too?
no, I don't think we need to, do we?
Or you have to?
Why?
I was
If people can't come to a public place, you still have to offer them access through Zoom.
Well, but I mean, we can certainly maintain 6 foot over there.
Right, but I'm just saying you still have to offer them that.
Oh. Okay,
I think we could comfortably make the 6 foot inside with sort of the same type of setup, I believe.
Which
And
is
then-
us.
With just us, and then still provide the Zoom to everybody. That's just, what we've done on this pretty much is the same thing.
that works for me.
I could make a little bit more, because all guests are required to Zoom in.
Yep, until the governor changes it, that's.
Okay, so, but if we get extra people who wanna come there, this is much bigger than the rink. As far as people who in the,
Well,
So that-
we only had the sheriff because he's mad at us, tonight,
right,
and nobody zoomed in.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, I mean, I just don't, I mean, I'm fine with here, but it's up.
I'll honestly have to look at what the open meeting law and all that with the COVID and how that works. I don't know that we can require, if we have a public meeting, I can't say you can't come to it.
If you have a physical space.
Yes, I can't say you can't come to it. Now, we can limit how many people are here. We have that authority, but we can't say you can't be there. So I can't make everybody Zoom in. So I don't know if there's gonna be enough space over there to have everybody. So we have 5 or 6 of us, 7 of us. We have a full forum and a full group here.
And we did decide on this place, so I don't know.
I misunderstood that.
You were with me with Stan, Tom, at the town offices, and agreed to come here and have our meeting.
I misunderstood.
So
Okay. I really believed we were meeting on skating rink. You know, I would have gone there if you hadn't emailed.
We talked in our last meeting that we were waiting for
Okay,
the trust.
I misunderstood. I'm sorry.
No, I know, but I'm saying all of a sudden, everyone came to me and said, oh, well, why are we having it at the library? And I'm like, because we talked about it.
It wasn't clear enough. Okay? You know, if one
I don't think that we agreed on anything at the last meeting. It was just, this is what's happening.
person- okay.
That's fine, I'm just saying, we talked
I'm
about it,
just saying,
we even sat at the meeting and then said, okay, we're waiting for the board of trustees from the library to make a decision on whether or not.
And they did, yeah, and we haven't heard back yet.
Right, but
Then we
last
switched to
meeting,
the
we
skating
were gonna
rink.
hear that next night, they were meeting on a Tuesday.
You know, if I knew we were meeting yet, so I got your email. Okay, I didn't know where we were meeting. I thought it was a skate rink.
She probably heard that.
Okay.
I'll be more diligent about making sure that and if we can establish right now where we're gonna meet for the next few meetings.
I'm fine with meeting here, but if nobody wants to come here because they don't wanna wear a mask, then I would check with the rest of the group at the skating rink to make sure that they're not requiring us to wear a mask before we go ahead and move the location.
We did that.
And you find out what your capacity is, because you can't have people from coming.
Yeah, that's the only hiccup I can see is if we, I don't know that building that well, but if we separate like we are here, what is that building about, that size right there?
It didn't give me to.
So I mean, worst case, we could even open the door and just shout to people,
Maybe we can take our chairs outdoors just like at the party, you know?
sitting on the rink or something.
Yeah. Certainly.
Yeah.
But we can't, if we have that access outside.
I
Otherwise,
don't know how good their internet is.
that's what I mean, if we don't have the access outside of the computer, then we can't hold the meeting inside.
Okay.
So I'll plan for the meeting to be, all right. Okay. Right, as of right now, we're meeting here. I'm going to check with the rink to make sure that the rink is copacetic with all this stuff. And if we will, if so, I will let everybody know that we will be meeting at the rink, inside at the rink. And we will have however many people available, however many spots available for people to come in. I don't know how many that's gonna be, but I'll check with the rink and I'll get with you all. And eventually we'll come up to a solution.
Okay.
How's that?
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Is there any other business anybody wants to bring up? Is
So,
there,
my question is, if we're having general public, are we supposed to be taking their temperature? Are we supposed to be taking ours? Are we doing this correctly if we're gonna be doing this?
Well, technically, we should be taking our temperatures at this meeting, and there should be a list of who attended.
There is a list.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a minute. But we will be, I will look at the governor's, guidance or whatever and make sure that we're following whatever his protocols are at the time. Like I said, we're gonna have another thermometer that we're getting. It's a little scanner thing. We'll have that in place and we can do a sign-up sheet. And see what sort of capacity we can have there. We may not be able to put more than 1 or 2 people in there. I don't know. I'll come down if it's even a valid location.
yeah, I'm trying to think when we had the pool and the rink meeting, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us maybe? We had picnic tables, obviously different picnic tables, but that took up 1/2 of the room. But nobody.
Okay, I'll look into it and I'll let everybody know.
All right.
adjourn?
So moved.
For a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Adjourn.